I was still holding the mythi box when my father told me not to come home again. It was Diwali, the house glowing with diyas, the scent of samosas and incense in the air. I had taken leave from work in Bengaluru and traveled all the way to Jaipur with my mother's favorite sweets, believing we'd celebrate like we always did. The table was set. The lights were warm. I hadn't even taken off my shoes when Dad said it. "Return the 4 lakh rupees from your mother's account, Arushi, or don't bother coming back." I froze. At first, I thought I misunderstood. This was Diwali, not some courtroom drama. But no one said it was a mistake. Ria wouldn't look at me. Kunal folded his arms like he was bracing for a fight. Even Ma, who usually defended me no matter what, just stood there in silence. I was still smiling when I realized this wasn't a family gathering. It was an ambush. And without warning, I had gone from the daughter who brought sweets to the one accused of stealing. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask why. I simply picked up my bag and walked out, leaving behind the mythi box on the table. A small, sweet reminder of the love I thought still existed in that house. Outside, the sounds of Diwali carried on. Fireworks cracking in the sky, laughter from neighbors, the scent of oil lamps and marigolds thick in the air. But none of it touched me. I booked a room at a roadside lodge near the station. The kind of place with peeling walls, buzzing lights, and the faint smell of damp and incense. It wasn't home, but it was neutral ground. Somewhere I could think. I sat on the bed, fingers trembling slightly, heart racing in a quiet, angry rhythm. I was a forensic auditor, someone companies paid to trace stolen funds, detect fraud, and bring clarity where chaos ruled. And now, my own family thought I was a thief. Yes, I had helped Ma set up her online banking. She had been hesitant, worried about scams, unsure about apps. I had sat beside her, step by step, created the login, selected security questions, showed her how to check balances. She wrote it all down in a notebook she kept in the kitchen drawer, accessible to anyone in the house. Now they believed I used that access to empty her account? What stunned me wasn't just the accusation. It was the total absence of doubt. No one said, "Arushi, could this be a mistake?" No one looked me in the eye and asked for the truth. They just decided I was guilty. The silence around the dinner table wasn't confusion. It was conviction. I felt like a guest in my own story. I opened my laptop, not as a daughter, but as an investigator. I made a list of everyone with access to that notebook. Ria, who lived at home most days. Kunal, who had a spare key and showed up unannounced. Both of them had opportunity. Both had motives, if I thought hard enough. And suddenly, that kitchen drawer didn't feel so innocent anymore. The next morning, I woke before dawn. My mind clear, focused, no alarm needed, just instinct. I brewed a cup of strong instant coffee from the lodge's shared kitchen and opened my laptop again. If they wanted to treat me like the criminal in the family, then I would investigate like one. I began by checking metadata, logins, devices, timestamps. My firm had access to a private investigation portal that aggregated data for ongoing cases of financial abuse. Greenwell Bank, the one Ma used, had appeared in a few internal reports recently. I searched for patterns and found them quickly. The withdrawals hadn't been random. 3 large UPI transfers had been made from Ma's account, spaced a few days apart. All were sent to different wallets under names I didn't recognize, but I traced them through payment records. 2 were linked to email addresses registered to my brother. 1 matched the phone number Ria had used for years. I double-checked IP logs. All transactions came from a tablet connected to the house Wi-Fi, the old Samsung one Ria used to stream serials while cooking. The bank login had been switched from Ma's phone to that tablet shortly after I returned to Bengaluru. Then there was the recovery email. It wasn't Ma's. It was created 2 days after I helped her set up her account. And the recovery phone? It was Kunal's. It was all there, the method, the motive, the digital fingerprints. They had used my help as a setup, waited until I taught Ma how to go digital, then quietly rerouted access, transferred the money, and let me take the fall. But what they didn't expect was that I'd be watching. that I'd come with evidence, not tears. I didn't call ahead. I didn't send a message. I drove back to the house on Monday afternoon, just as the golden hour light hit the old neighborhood, soft and warm, like it used to be before everything cracked. Their cars were in the driveway. Kunal's SUV, Ria's scooter, Ma's faded sedan. No guests, just family. I parked at the curb, laptop bag beside me, the evidence folder in my lap. Not shaking this time. Just steady, calm, certain. I walked up the steps and opened the front door. The familiar smell of masala and ghee drifted from the kitchen. Laughter, faint and tense, echoed from within. But as I stepped into the room, everything went still. Ria was leaning against the counter, mug in hand. Kunal was scrolling on his phone. Ma stood at the stove, stirring something with slow, quiet motions. Dad looked up from the table, surprised, but not shocked. I walked to the kitchen island and placed the folder on the surface, next to the fruit bowl and forgotten mail. No one spoke. I opened the folder slowly. "You believed I stole from Ma," I said, voice low but clear. "Now I'll show you what really happened." I laid down the first printout, UPI logs, with timestamps and IP addresses, then screenshots of the recovery settings, email, and phone number changes. The bank's metadata, 3 highlighted transfers, one name after another leading back to them. Ria's face paled. Kunal froze. "You framed me," I said. "You used the trust I built with Ma as your cover." Ma stepped forward, eyes locked on the paper. She said nothing, but her hands trembled. "This isn't a misunderstanding," I continued. "It was planned, executed, hidden, and you made me the scapegoat." No one denied it. No one even tried. Dad stood slowly, his eyes fixed on the documents. "Arushi," he began, but his voice trailed off like he didn't know how to finish the sentence. I didn't wait for an apology. I wasn't there for redemption. I was there for truth. "I'm not pressing charges," I said evenly. "But I've shared this folder with the family attorney. You'll decide what happens next. Together." Kunal's face tightened. Ria looked away. Ma sank into a chair, hands in her lap, her expression blank. The silence was heavier than anything they could have said. "You told me not to come back unless I returned the money," I said quietly. "I didn't take the money, but I brought back the truth." No one moved. No one asked me to stay. I closed the folder, zipped it into my bag, and turned to the door. Just as I stepped into the hallway, Ma called after me, her voice breaking. "Arushi!" I paused, but didn't turn around. "I wanted to believe you," she said. I didn't know what to believe anymore." I nodded once. "Now you do." And I left. Outside, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the lawn. I sat in my car, staring at the house, my childhood, my history, knowing I wouldn't come back. Not anytime soon. Maybe never. No one followed me. No one called my name. And that told me everything I needed to know. I returned to Bengaluru that night. The city felt colder, sharper. The traffic, the blinking lights, the everyday noise. It all seemed distant, like I was watching life through a window I couldn't quite open anymore. At work, I fell back into routine. Deadlines, reports, quiet efficiency. No one asked why I looked tired. I didn't offer explanations. I didn't call on Sunday evenings like I used to. I left the family group chat muted. Ma left a voicemail 3 days later. Her voice cracked between words. "I was wrong," she said. "I know that now. I just didn't want to believe they could do it. I'm sorry, Beta. I don't expect you to forgive us. I just wanted you to know." She hung up before the minute ran out. Weeks passed. Diwali decorations came down. Life moved on. Then one day, a letter arrived. Real paper, handwritten envelope. Inside was a photo, me, Kunal, and Ria as children, sitting on the terrace in mismatched pajamas, firecrackers in our hands. On the back, one line. "We didn't realize how much we'd miss you until you were gone." No signature. I didn't write back. Instead, I started something new. A weekend workshop at the local college. Financial safety for senior citizens. I taught people how to spot scams, protect their accounts, guard their passwords. Most of them just wanted someone to listen. One Saturday, an elderly woman touched my hand and said, "I wish I had a daughter like you." I smiled gently. So did mine, I thought. Piite had been 4 months. Bengaluru had turned cooler. Life had found its rhythm again, structured, predictable. The workshop I started was now full every Saturday. I had rebuilt something, even if it wasn't the same. Then, one morning, tucked between electricity bills and flyers, I found an envelope. My name. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting immediately. Inside was a photograph. Me, Ma, Ria, and Kunal, sitting on the front steps, holding sparklers. I must have been 10. On the back, just one line, written in quiet ink. "If you ever come home, the door will be open." I stood there for a while, unsure what to feel. Part of me wanted to tear it in half. Another part held it gently, like something fragile that might still bloom. I didn't reply, but I didn't throw it away either. I placed it in the same drawer as the folder, the one with the evidence, now untouched for months. Because some truths, once proven, don't need repeating, and some wounds, maybe, just maybe, still have time to heal. Because some stories don't end with closure, some just wait, quietly, between silence and forgiveness.